game changer that the Indian Air Force shot down 5 Pakistani fighter jets and a Pakistani surveillance aircraft from the distance of 300 kilometers. Yes, viewers, this was the largest ever air kill. This was the largest ever surface-to-air kill ever credited to the Indian Air Force's history. It did not stop there, viewers. On India's hit list was also the F-16 jets, which were parked at Jaish-e-Mohammed and another one at Bholari. They were all destroyed on ground. IAF chief has said that all these targets were identified and hit through satellite images. This official disclosure lays bare the massive blow dealt to Pakistan's air power during the heightened tensions after the Pahalgam terror attack.
We were able to get there at least 2 command and control centers. Chaklala, that I have shown you one of the pictures. At least 6 radars, some of them big, some of them small. 2 SAGW systems, that is in Lahore and Okara. Then, of course, runway at Sargoda and Rahimia Khan. 3 hangars that we attacked. One was, of course, Sukur, the UAV hangar, the Bholari hangar of AEW&C, and Jacobabad, the F-16 hangar. And we have indication of at least 1 AW&C in that AW&C hangar, and a few F-16s which were under maintenance there. Apart from these, the SAGW systems, mostly from, I'm talking about fighter aircraft are from S-400. We have at least 5 fighters confirmed kills and 1 large aircraft, which could be either an Elint aircraft or an AW&C aircraft, which was taken out at a distance of about 300 kilometers. This is the actually largest ever recorded surface-to-air kill that we can talk about. So it was a nicely planned out effort, and the date was decided. It was the 6th and 7th night, date and time, and it was decided based on weather, based on what pattern we were seeing across the border of their movements and their actions. And we decided that time, and we decided that it will be in one go we will address all 9 targets. And like I said, Air Force was targeting these to the border, so it was not that we could do something with small drones or weapons of small caliber. They were all nicely hardened structures. So we decided to go with long-range weapons to keep ourselves safe from their air defenses, but at the same time, accurate weapons to get the targets while not causing any other damage to the areas around. And special emphasis throughout has been that there should be minimum civilian casualties who are not involved with this.
Well, we have Air Commodore Ashminder Bahel joining us on the broadcast. Thanks so much, sir, for joining us on Republic TV. And, I'll come to the other strike, which is much talked about as far as the silencing the naysayers and the credit mongers. But about the largest strike that has been conducted by the Indian Air Force, largest ever recorded surface-to-air kill that has been conducted. So the AWACS have been destroyed. This is not something that is that's something that usually happens. It usually speaks volumes about Indian Air Force's capabilities. So help our viewers understand the significance of this.
Rachita, thank you for calling me, first of all. And secondly, the great thing that you have just said. We have created a record in the world by hitting an airborne early warning and control system aircraft.
Yes, sir.
From 300 aircraft, which has a radar on it, and it can look deep inside the enemy territory, which means it's a force multiplier. And we shoot down one of this, we have hurt Pakistan by 1 aircraft, $100 million. And in addition to that, significant reduction in its capability to carry out surveillance inside our air. It's not that we were not having an offensive capability. We had significant offensive capability in that we struck at those target systems which were in Punjab, where we had never struck earlier. It hurt the soul of Pakistan when we hit at Muridke and when we hit at Bahawalpur, it was precise attack, minimum collateral damage, no military or civilian target was hit or destroyed, and yet we were able to come out with great effectiveness, including the Jaish-e-Mohammed Sarangna, that is the leader saying that, hello, can you hear me?
Right. Yes, sir. I request you to please just fix the frame and the network, and meanwhile we'll just show our viewers what other statements have been made by the Air Chief Marshal. Sir. We'll just come back to you. So another big statement that was made by Air Chief Marshal was how he revealed that the forces were in fact given a free hand, and they were given a full freedom to do and carry out the operations, clear directions, no restrictions. He credited NSA Doval for playing a pivotal role in synchronizing every arm of the operation, and also, of course, he highlighted the role of the Chief of Defence Staff as well. In fact, he said it was a dream come true the way this entire operation was conducted, and there was complete synchronization among all the three forces. Listen in.
I want to talk about something like, if I can say, what were the reasons for success? One, which I can think of, is that there was political will. I'm being very, very candid here, very open here, because I hear various versions of it. I think if I tell you something, people will have to believe, because I was there listening to everybody, attending every meeting. There was very clear political will, very clear directions which were given to us, and there were no kind of restrictions which were put on it. Many people have spoken somewhere. Unfortunately, everybody is speaking about it. कि कुछ ना कुछ मैं बोल दूंगा इस बारे में. So there have been talks about, was there any restriction? Were you kept constrained? If there were any constraints, they were self-made. We, the forces, decided what will be our rules of engagement. We, the forces, decided what will be the escalation ladder that we want to ride on. We decided how we want to control the escalation. So I want to make it very clear, there were no, I repeat, no restrictions on us. Full freedom was given to us to plan and execute.
There we heard the Air Chief Marshal on the full freedom that was given. Commodore Behel, if you could just shed some light on how important this is to in fact give full freedom to the forces, which has been lamented by many others. I've been speaking to some other retired officers, and they've lamented the fact that full freedom has not always been enjoyed by the forces in the history of this country, sir. And when people like the leader of opposition in Lok Sabha say that the hands of the forces were tied, it actually comes as a big strike back. Although it is not the IAF chief who, he has better things to do, of course, but it's important that he puts it on records that the armed forces are fully free and they are trusted by the leadership, and they do what they do.
Very nicely said, I'm remembered of the 1960 to 70s American war with Vietnam. And in that war, President Johnson used to check at even the target list. So much was political interference that it became very difficult for the war planners to execute correctly and strategically. With the result, the war lingered on for 10 to 11 years before in the Christmas bombings took place, and in January 1973 it came to an end. Karl von Clausewitz had said, political object is the goal and war is only a means of achieving it. If the political object is very clear, and if the armed forces are not chained, and if they are given full freedom, there is no restrictions placed, as was done this time, then the armed forces produce results which we produced this time. In 90 hours, we brought a country to its knees. In 90 hours, they went running to the US to say, Kisi tarah se bhi ladai band karao. Then they came to us. And in 90 hours, their DGMO rang up and said, please stop the war. Nobody told us to stop. No one was intending us to put restraints on us that you can stop. We stopped because we felt our political objectives had been met. We stopped because we thought that now we have taught the terrorists such a great lesson that they'll think 10 times. We stopped because, just to give you an example, in Gaza, it's just a strip of 363 square kilometers. To give you comparison, our Delhi is 1484 square kilometers. Now, it is not even one-fourth the size of Delhi, and yet Israeli Defense Forces, which are one of the most professional forces in the world, cannot put any control over Gaza till now for last 22 months, because it's easy to get into a war and it is easy to get sucked into the dynamics of war, but it is extremely difficult to get out of it. And
Right.
it is the armed forces which felt that we have achieved the political object and this is the time to stop.
Yes, sir. Air Commodore Behel, thank you so much for joining us with your insights and your reading of the latest development that has come in, viewers. And finally, we'll also tell you another strike. We'll just show you, you have to hear this out, how the Indian Air Force chief took on the Saboot gang. He spoke about Operation Sindoor, and he said that thankfully this time the ghost of Balakot has been laid to rest. There was difficulty in convincing very own people last time around, but this time we've made it very, very clear. Thankfully, we had the proof, and we showed that proof as well. Listen in.
In Balakot, we could not get anything from inside, and it became a big issue, trying to tell our own people, unfortunately our own people, as to what we have been able to achieve. We had intelligence of what has gone on inside. We had intelligence of, a human kind of intelligence, where we had very clear picture of inside in terms of there had been huge damage. There have been so many terrorists which have been neutralized. But we could not convince our own people that, look, we have achieved that. But this time, again, a thing like this would have given us the same problem. But we were lucky, and we got these videos on the open. This is the same building from inside. You see the amount of damage that it has created, because all these penetration weapons, the sound is from that video. So they cause this kind of damage. From outside, you get a feeling as if it's just a small hole. So I'm very happy that this time we were able to, take care of that ghost of Balakot, that we were able to tell the world what we have achieved.
All right, viewers, now we shift our focus to what's been happening all this week. Days after Donald Trump stunned India with the steep tariff hikes on a range of exports, Western media reports claim that India had quietly hit pause on a big India-US arms deal. The news of the alleged freeze has been dismissed by the Ministry of Defense, calling it false and fabricated, insisting that the procurement talks that were on, they continue as per procedure. No formal order has been issued to halt or delay any acquisitions. So now, the question still arises that this could be impacting the India-US defense partnership, viewers. $131 million India-US arms deal is in focus. It's an opportunity for India to enhance its maritime awareness capabilities in Indo-Pacific. America views this as a step towards deeper defense cooperation with India. Now, for New Delhi, the strategy is not just Atmanirbharta in defense, but diversification of procurement partners also. So this can be an opportunity if at all the defense ties are deterred. Now, not only the important part is that Russia is a traditional supplier, but also it has deals that in diversification of procurement, it has struck deals with France and Israel. And in the last decade, the US, France, Israel, United Kingdom, they've all emerged as significant suppliers, viewers. With France, the Rafale deal cemented Paris's position as a trusted partner, and talks for additional fighters and submarine collaborations are also going on. Israel offers UAVs to India, precision-guided munitions and missile defense systems, while India and the UK are looking at cooperative programs on jet engines and maritime security. By deploying the multifold procurement, India continues to reduce the dependence on a single supplier, mitigate the chances of supply chain disruption, and also push for reliance, self-reliance, Atmanirbharta in defense manufacturing. So while the reports have been quashed, there is, of course, a lot of talk about how defense ties, because trade is being affected, the defense ties are also going to be affected here, especially how you see that there is this dilemma between the aircraft offered by US, the F-35 deal, which reports again had emerged that India has rejected that. Nothing on record, of course, about that. All right, viewers, now we shift our focus to, and let's take it forward from here. Trump rolled out his latest round of reciprocal tariffs against world's biggest emerging economies. That's been hogging the limelight. It's been dominating the limelight to weaken the BRICS countries, which includes Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa. There has been attempts to fracture its unity and force each member of the BRICS to bargain with Washington on Trump's terms. But it seems like Trump's master plan now to separate the BRICS has backfired. Instead, Trump has just triggered a chain reaction that is just drawing China, India, Russia closer together than they have been ever before in the recent years. Now, the proof of it is how Brazilian President Lula da Silva spoke to Prime Minister Modi on phone. He said, I don't want to talk to Trump. I will talk to Modi. I will talk to China or Russia. Leaders have vowed to strengthen strategic ties. The proof again comes in when Russian President Putin dials Prime Minister Modi amid Trump's tariff threats. He's set to visit India later this month after he met NSA Doval in Moscow. Proof number 3, another significant diplomatic signal. Prime Minister Modi is set to travel to China soon, his very first since the deadly Galwan clashes. Of course, there have been tensions, border tensions, that unlikely to be disappearing overnight. We've also seen the case of China offering aid to Pakistan during Operation Sindoor, and India has talked tough on that. But for the moment, we understand that there is rearrangement or strategic realignment. For more on this, we have our guest live from Russia. He is joining us from Russia, and Dr. Sergei Dvoryanov is joining us right now for this story. And he's president of IDC Amicability. So thanks so much for joining us once again on Public TV. There's been this talk about strategic realignment, and when it comes to diplomacy, international politics, there are no permanent friends or foes. So, there have been some differences, of course. Russia, China have been close. Russia and India have been close. But when it comes to China and India, there have been, of course, a lot of cracks. But when we see China, out of everybody, China talking about sovereignty, an expansionist state talking about sovereignty of India, supporting India, Prime Minister Modi going for the SCO summit, you feel that Trump's move has only backfired and the BRICS is coming together brick by brick?
Thank you so much. Namaste, namaskar. Thank you for your question. Thank you for that you're having me in this show. First of all, I want to tell that we are currently experiencing one of the most dramatic moments in our history. The new world has not yet arrived, not yet appearance, but the old one has already been destroyed. And especially because of the policy of the Western leaders. We must learn to cooperate on the level, not only economical, but on the ethics level, and on the level of responsibility for the future generations on this planet. That's why we can see that right now, during these changing times, very dramatic time, a lot of turbulence, a lot of disturbance, and especially when Donald Trump appearance on the political stage, everybody was highly appreciated and excited that he transformed his enmity to Russia, he transformed his enmity for the dialogue. But right now, unfortunately, we can see that he cannot really approach and achieve this level of understanding what can be and should be the future of our civilization. I can tell that unfortunately today the ideology of most of the countries based on the image of the enemy. We should understand that we should realize that only one enemy we have, that is the ignorance. And modern politician, he cannot be ignorant, and he cannot spray this type of ignorance. Like, for example, like Donald Trump, he cannot be so crude, so disresponsible when he push any country to do something, and that is not a level of humanity. For my opinion, cooperation between Russia, China, and India as well was already approved. You can see that last year in global summit of BRICS in Kazan, it was very, very open heart conversation between India and China, and Russia was mediator.
Yes.
Russia was mediator, and it was a global message which came from this platform of BRICS. And right now we can see, of course, Donald Trump, he lose a lot of power because new world is completely changed. Before it was Western part of the world dominant and gives the rules how we will live. Right now, Eastern part become more in power, and for my opinion, we should definitely put a reference of the ethics of
Right,
cooperation and understanding and spiritual education for this union. If it based on spiritual education, definitely will change the world for the better.
Dr. Dvorinov, thanks so much for joining us with your insights on that story, your reading of the story. Viewers, we should quickly focus to, of course, how what's been happening between Pakistan and United States. It's very important to understand, viewers, from here. India's precision strikes had targeted the heart of the terror dens of Pakistan. And now, viewers, in less than 2 months, we understand that Asim Munir could be in Washington, D.C. Yes, you heard that right, viewers. We'll just show you, we'll tell you the significance of that once again. We've seen how Asim Munir was hosted by Trump in Washington, D.C. for a lunch. Pakistan's newly minted Field Marshal Asim Munir, or Field Marshal, is heading back to Washington now this week. Second visit in just 2 months, following a private lunch with Trump at the White House. Now we know that that meeting was a signal of shifting priorities. Trump had praised Munir for averting a potential war with India, a claim New Delhi has vehemently denied, of course, and set it on record, insisting its decisions are its own. But the story doesn't end there, viewers. Alongside security talks, Trump unveiled a trade agreement with Islamabad recently. It had claimed that it has some oil reserves there. US companies will be taking over or buying Pakistani oil. And now Munir's trip comes at a time when when embers of a conflict still smolder across South Asia, just months after India's retaliatory strikes against Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba bases in Pakistan. Munir's presence in Washington to attend the farewell of US Central Command Chief General Michael Kurilla is more than a military courtesy, viewers. It's a sign of America's continued engagement despite Pakistan's complex history with terrorism, and perhaps of a counterbalance to India's assertive foreign policy. Now, viewers, let's help you understand what is the significance of this, viewers. Now, this we've seen Trump trying to seek credit for brokering India-Pakistan ceasefire, and of course, he always wants a deal, so he wants a Nobel Prize in return of that. Then he also hosts Munir for a private lunch, as we told you, after Operation Sindoor. Next, what's been happening between the two countries, US and Pakistan? Next, praising Munir for not going to war with India. He's praising Asim Munir as he's a dove, that is, Pakistan have done nothing. Then he unveils a trade agreement with Pakistan that exports terrorism. You know, he is ready to engage with the terror state of Pakistan. Then he grants US companies access to some oil reserves that he claims to have found in Pakistan. Balochistan says there are reserves, not Pakistan's. US Central Command Chief now has hailed Pakistan as a bilateral partner, and now they're inviting him also. He is re-invited Munir to Washington within 2 months since the lunch, viewers. So this is what's been happening, and that of course raises many questions as to what's been happening and how India remains on alert, how US is trying to create its presence and proximity to Pakistan and use it as a leverage against the giants like India and China. We shift our focus quickly to the army-led operations in Uttarakhand. It was the cloudburst in Uttarkashi led to massive flash floods. Raging waters tore through the homes, roads and fields, causing massive destruction in Tharali, Uttarkashi. Roads were ripped apart, villages cut off and hundreds were stranded. Rescue operations are in full swing, with the Indian Army leading the multi-agency rescue operations along with the NDRF, the SDRF and the ITBP teams. Army continues to provide unwavering support to the people of Uttarakhand through sustained humanitarian assistance and disaster relief operations in Tharali as well as in Marshal, where an army camp has also been hit. Army promptly activated secured communication networks, including satellite and radio relay systems, in Marshal to support the ongoing rescue operations. Even specialized canine team have been deployed to assist in search tasks in coordination with ground-penetrating radar, Zeva radar and reconnaissance radars. In the skies, a total of 68 sorties have been conducted so far in a day as of Saturday, with forces ferrying food, medicines, hoping to cut off, connect back the cut-off villages. And that's of course the visuals that we have got for you. In Uttarakhand's darkest hour, the armed forces stand as a lifeline fighting the floods, braving the odds, carrying a nation's hopes on their shoulders.
भारत की अपनी दुकान इंडिया सोना, अपने देश का सामान इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना, इंडिया सोना। थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरी राजा, सबका राजा प्योर मसाला।
Sports isn't just about medals and podiums. It is about heartbreak, challenges, and discipline. It is also about leaders choosing sport to empower the community to live longer and healthier. I congratulate my friend Arnab and R4 Sports for championing these untold stories that we all need to hear and learn from. Here's wishing R4 Sports all the best.
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी। अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
The Russian President Vladimir Putin's anticipated visit to India sends an unmistakable message to Donald Trump and Europe that Russia remembers who stood by it when others turned away. India's support for Russia has been a cornerstone of their relationship. From the outbreak of the Ukraine conflict in February 2022, the majority of Western countries moved to condemn Russia, sanction its economy, and ostracize it on global platforms.
On long-form story this week, we bring to you ground reports from Israel on why Netanyahu has decided to go inside Gaza yet again with Israeli Defense Forces, and why do Hamas not return the hostages and thus make life that much more difficult for the common Gazans.
from Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Very good morning. You're watching live and breaking on Republic TV. I'm Aishwarya Kapoor with you. The top story that we are tracking at this hour is the army chief comparing Operation Sindoor to a game of chess, saying that India delivered a strategic checkmate to Pakistan. That's the big story that we are tracking. Let's also take a look at the other big stories in the headlines.
If you ask to a Pakistani whether you lost or won, you say, my chief has become Field Marshal, we must have won only, that's why he's become Field Marshal. so what I'm saying that this is how you can influence the population.
Army Chief General Dwivedi calls out Pakistan's fake narrative, says Pakistani would say they won as their chief was promoted.
This is the first time which RM has also said, I think enough is enough, and all the three chiefs were very clear, something has to be done. And the free hand was given, of course, that you decide what is to be done.
Chief General Dwivedi reiterates that forces were given a free hand during Operation Sindoor. Encounter underway in Kishtwar, 2 to 3 terrorists trapped. Ahead of Prime Minister Modi's Bengaluru visit, Priyank Kharge accuses BJP of hijacking the credit for Bengaluru metro project. After Indian Air Force chief takes on Sabooth gang, Kiran Rijiju asks Rahul Gandhi, why do you keep lying all the time? An election commission has once again said sternly Rahul Gandhi should either give a declaration as per rules or apologize to the country for his false allegations. Viewers, the top story that we are tracking for you is from Karnataka, where Prime Minister Narendra Modi is slated to inaugurate the yellow line of the Bengaluru metro. And ahead of that important meeting and that inauguration, Karnataka Minister Priyank Kharge has slammed the Prime Minister, saying that BJP is trying to distract the audience. Now he says that after vote chori, BJP is going ahead with credit chori of Karnataka's development. He accuses Prime Minister Modi of hijacking the credit for Karnataka's metro inauguration. And he claims that the metro project was launched under Dr. Manmohan Singh-led UPA government, and the Congress government has contributed more than the NDA government. All right, Abhishek, my colleague, is now joining us for more details. Abhishek, now Karnataka and specifically Bengaluru is slated for a very significant infrastructure boost. There are a number of projects that Prime Minister Narendra Modi is slated to inaugurate, including a part of the Yellow Line metro. And ahead of that, a big statement, a very controversial statement there by Kharge, Priyank Kharge there. How do you look at the entire statement, considering the fact that we're talking about, big development projects, infrastructure projects?
Aishwarya, with respect to the statement made by Priyank Khage, it is very evident and it is very clear that the metro had to be constituted with the support of the union and the state government. Both of them hold the equal responsibility and equal share among the developmental project in Bengaluru. And with respect to the yellow line, which is being inaugurated by Pradhan Mantri Modi ji in couple of hours starting from now, it is very sure that the state government, for various other reasons, had to delay the inauguration of the yellow line metro. On the other hand, the BJP government also, the union government in fact, had very clearly claimed that they would also be present in Bengaluru to inaugurate the same. On the other hand, Priyank Khage's statement has clearly mentioned that this is a diversion of vote chori. And on the other hand, we have seen BJP leaders who commented on Rahul Gandhi's claim of vote chori, showing CM Siddaramaia's very own constituency acts where the vote chori had previously happened. And also, we had seen CM Ibrahim quoting on an open stage that Siddaramaiya had also choried the vote, like stolen the vote, at least 3,000 votes for his winning in the last couple of elections. So coming back to the developmental works that are happening in Bengaluru, and with respect to the programs that are about to happen today, I am located in Krantivira Sangoli railway station circle. This is the circle where Pradhana Mantri ji or the Prime Minister will be present to inaugurate the Vande Bharat Express from Bengaluru. And after this, he will be moving towards the Ragiguda junction, which included 16 to 17 stops of metro, the yellow line metro, which was the most expected, which also is expected to have a footfall of around 8 lakhs after it starts. It is also a major turnout in the Bengaluru because this yellow line connects the connectivity to the major corridor where the corporate companies are located. This will also there might be a small pause or a full stop with respect to the traffic congestion that happened in the over the outer ring road and also near the central silk board. So at this point of time, we are showing you the live visuals of the road completely being blocked for the arrival of Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. We also see that the entire city where Prime Minister Narendra Modi moves has become saffron. We are witnessing the BJP flags in and around the city. Not to forget, not long ago, RCB match took lives of 11 innocent people. So the lesson learned has obviously been taken into custody now, and it also been taken into count now. The deployment of the police in the last couple of events when Rahul Gandhi visited Bangalore was around 6,000, and as of now we are witnessing around 10,000 police who have been deployed in and around the city so that no mishap happens, no people will have to get into any issue. We also have seen the top cops and various other departmental persons who are involved in the safety measures. We have also seen all the safety precautionary measures have been taken. The areas have been barricaded. The police have carried various other ropes to make sure that the people won't jump out of the barricades. We have seen a huge deployment of police. We've also we are showing you the arrival of BJP State President B.Y. Vijayendra. The BJP, Karnataka BJP had identified around 8 to 9 circles where people can gather, where people can witness Modi traveling, where people can wave their hands towards Modi. So this is one of the prime junctions where Modi ji, after reaching Bengaluru, he will be stationed here. He will show his green flag. He will start the journey of Vande Bharat from the Bangalore Metro's Bengaluru KSR station. So the exact scenario of Bengaluru has changed over a couple of hours. We have seen people assembling in thousands in various other points identified by the Karnataka State BJP. We will have to see how the people turn out, how people of the Bengaluru will welcome the yellow line metro, how people of the entire state will respect the Vande Bharat. And also, we will also have to see, will Modi ji give any other new gift to Karnataka or Bengaluru? This is the latest update as of now. Aishwarya.
All right. So yellow line being hailed as a game changer for Bengaluru. 3 Vande Bharat trains also that are going to be inaugurated by the Prime Minister. Thank you so much, Abhishek, for those details there. And viewers, we have more breaking news coming in right now, and that is that leader of opposition in Rajya Sabha and Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge is going to host a dinner for the Indie Bloc MPs on 11th of August in New Delhi. That is tomorrow morning, late evening in New Delhi. So remember, this is a very, very important meeting. This is a dinner because this is important because, you know, Congress has taken the initiative to really breathe oxygen into the India bloc. It is hosting a lot of meetings also. Before the monsoon session of Parliament began, Congress held a meeting with the India bloc leaders, and in the last 15 days also, Rahul Gandhi as well as Mallikarjun Kharge have been chairing multiple meetings with the India bloc partners. And again, there is a dinner that is slated for tomorrow for the India bloc MPs on 11th of August, that is tomorrow, in New Delhi. So Congress reaching out to its India bloc partners. And remember this, even as the monsoon session of Parliament is continuing, which is going to continue till 21st of August. And in the House, we have seen multiple disruptions being done by the India bloc leaders over the Bihar's SIR exercise. And now the top leaders of the alliance are meeting over dinner. And we have to wait and watch how this would pan out and how this meeting would really reflect on to the developments in the Parliament as well. So far, we have seen there have been multiple disruptions that the opposition members, the India bloc leaders, have been carrying out over Bihar's electoral exercise, that is SIR exercise. So LOP, Rajya Sabha and Congress President Mallikarjun Kharge is now going to host a dinner for the India bloc MPs tomorrow in New Delhi. So Congress is reaching out, continuing to reach out to its India bloc alliance partners. And this comes amid Parliament session, ongoing monsoon session of Parliament, where disruptions are continuing. All right, we have more breaking news coming in, viewers. And that is Army Chief General Upendra Dwivedi has called out Pakistan's fake narrative on Operation Sindoor, and he says every Pakistani would believe that they won as their chief was promoted to Field Marshal. Army Chief has basically mocked Pakistan's victory claim. He also said that Operation Sindoor was kind of a game of chess where every move of India kept putting the enemy in a checkmate position. All right, let's listen in to the Army Chief.
So narrative management system is something which we realize in a big way because victory is in mind. It's always in mind. If you ask to a Pakistani whether you lost or won, you say, my chief has become Field Marshal, we must have won only, that's why he's become Field Marshal. So what I'm saying that this is how you can influence the population. So it is the domestic population, it is the adversaries population, and it is the neutral population. Can rising powers be accommodated? That's a question you have to ask, and you will get the answer yourself. So then we made inroads through our own way. And the narrative management system, by getting the social kind of a sensitive index, then getting to use the Twitters and other handles from other places. So the strategic messaging which was there was very, very important. And that's why the first messaging we did, that okay, justice done, Op Sindoor, that hit the maximum, I am told, in the world today, the number of hits which received. So that was the strategic messaging by a simple message. And the logo which you see all over the world was created by a Lieutenant Colonel and a NCO. So we prepared all this. So when we were going in for this kind of Op Sindoor operation, we were also going for these things because narrative management system is important. So what it means that when it comes to the technology, there is a technology here, there is a technology here. The big party would like to propagate a technology to be much, much better, and you will get influenced by it. And the smaller one will not have the money power to kind of propagate that. So that is where I think the narrative management system plays a role. And if we are able to kind of get in time, I assure you that we will be able to help out this kind of a smaller party also. And Op Sindoor, what we did, we played chess. Now what does it mean? It means we did not know what is the next move the enemy is going to take and what are we going to do. This is something we called about the gray zone. Gray zone is that we are not going for the conventional operations, but we are doing something which is just short of the conventional operations. Conventional operations means go with everything, Clausewitzian approach. Take whatever you have. And if you are able to come back, it's okay, otherwise stay there. But that is the thing which we talk about, the conventional approach. Here the grey zone is any activity which is taking place in all domains. That is something which we are talking about, and Operation Sindoor taught us that this is the grey zone. So we were making the chess moves. He was also making the chess moves. Somewhere we were giving him checkmate, and somewhere we were kind of going in for the kill, at the risk of even losing our own. But that's the way life is all.
All right, we are right now joined in by Major General P.K. Sehgal, who is a defence expert. Major General, very good morning and thank you so much for joining us here on Republic TV. Sir, yesterday we heard the Indian Air Force Chief and now the Army Chief talking and hailing Operation Sindoor, and, also noting how India... if you talk about the COAS, he likened it to a game of chess where India delivered a checkmate to Pakistan. And both the statements clearly, we can see a message by both the leaders there, loud and clear, that when national security is at stake, decisive leadership matters and India is not going to bow down to anybody. And also a message to the opposition, because they've been questioning the success and also asking for stats right from the beginning.
Chief of Army Staff statement has several messages, not only for the domestic audience, for the Pakistani audience, the international audience, the opposition per se. He has very categorically stated few things. Firstly, that the leadership was absolutely and totally decisive. Very clear-cut directions were given. Total freedom was given to us, and there was huge amount of political will. Secondly, he said, victory lies in the mind, and all moves were being made in the mind to ensure that the narrative that we put across to the world is in our favor. He said we made moves on the chessboard and so did Pakistani move, but we almost always and every time checkmated him. And as far as narrative is concerned, he says loud and clear that in the battle of narratives we won. But unfortunately, as far as Pakistan is concerned, Pakistan feels that they won the battle of narratives because their people still continue to believe very, very strongly that Pakistan won the war. And that's why their Chief of Army Staff got promoted to Field Marshal. Unfortunately, our opposition, leader of the opposition, the President of the Congress Party, leaders of the opposition, particularly from TMC and SP, aided, abetted and assisted Pakistan in believing that. They kept saying loud and clear that we lost a couple of Rafales. They kept saying what the Pakistanis were saying, that they demolished the airfields, air bases at Adampur and Bhuj, and they also knocked out one S-400 unit. It is for this reason that the Prime Minister, after Operation Sindoor, visited Adampur, and he had in the background the S-400 unit. And similarly, on the very next day, our Defence Minister visited Bhuj. The message was loud and clear that all these areas were absolutely and totally intact, and it was a false narrative being propagated by Pakistan. Unfortunately, in this game of narratives, Pakistan was also assisted by China, Turkey, and to an extent by America. Donald Trump kept on saying loud and clear that India and Pakistan, the fighting was brought to an end by him. And unfortunately, our leader of the opposition went on record to say that India surrendered to Pakistan. Even Pakistan has exploited certain statements made by our CDS in Singapore and our military attaché in Indonesia. Those were quoted out of context by our own leader of the opposition leaders, and the Pakistanis gained substantial advantage because of this. This was a similar narrative that was played by the opposition when we carried out the Balakot strike. If you heard the Air Chief yesterday, he said, thank heavens, the ghost of Balakot is over. Why he said so? Because we did not, at that point of time, had critical evidence of the variety that we've shown today. 2 satellites that we caused a huge amount of destruction. The opposition kept saying that nothing of the sort happened, notwithstanding the fact that it was the first time that after 1971 war, that the Indian Air Force went across into Pakistan across the line of control and did not attack POK, but we carried out attack at Balakot, which is in Pakhtunkhwa. Fortunately for us, and fortunately for Pakistan, the Pakistan Army has absolute and total control over the print media, the electronic media, and the social media. People of Pakistan are completely oblivious of the fact that we've devastated 13 of their airfields.
right, viewers, we have more breaking news coming in. Army Chief has also reiterated that forces were given a free hand in Operation Sindoor. He said that forces were given clear directions and no restrictions were imposed on the forces. He also says that political clarity gave confidence to the forces. He said for the first time, Rajnath Singh said that enough is enough.
22nd April, you're aware what happened in Pahalgam, and it actually shocked the nation. 23rd is the time when next day itself, we all sat down. And this is the first time which RM has also said, I think enough is enough. And all the three chiefs were very clear, something has to be done. And the free hand was given, of course, that you decide what is to be done. And that is the kind of a confidence with the political directions and political clarity for the first time we saw. And that's what made a difference, because we want to do a lot, but that kind of hand-holding and kind of free, no terms of restrictions, if I can say that. And that is what kind of raises up your morale. And that is how it helped our army commanders or commander-in-chiefs on ground to kind of act as per their wisdom. Of course, then 25th, we visited the Northern Command, as you're aware, that is the place where we thought, planned, conceptualized, and executed the 7 targets out of the 9 which were destroyed, and where a lot of terrorists were killed.
All right, viewers, we have breaking news coming in from the national capital. Another hit-and-run case has come to light from national capital Delhi. A speeding Thar crushed a man, which led to his death on the spot. The case has been registered, and this incident took place about 2 kilometers away from the Rashtrapati Bhavan, and forensic teams are inspecting the spot. So, this incident taking place just 2 kilometers away from Rashtrapati Bhavan, right in the heart of the national capital. Another hit-and-run case. A Thar crushing a man to death. Forensic team, we understand, are inspecting the spot at the moment. Jatin, my colleague, is joining us for more details. Jatin, what details do we have about the hit-and-run case? Has the accused been identified and arrested?
बिल्कुल, देखिए, थार चालक को हिरासत में लिया गया है और तस्वीरें सबसे पहले मैं आपको दिखाता हूँ। फॉरेंसिक टीम मौके पर पहुंची हुई है और तमाम जो एविडेंस है उसको कलेक्ट किया जा रहा है। आप ये गाड़ी देख रहे हैं, सफेद रंग की थार गाड़ी है। इसी गाड़ी से फुटपाथ पर चल रहे 2 लोगों को हिट किया, उसके बाद एक की मौत हो गई और एक अभी भी अस्पताल में भर्ती है, जहां पर उसका इलाज चल रहा है। आप लेफ्ट साइड देखिए, थार गाड़ी का पूरे तरीके से डैमेज है। जो अभी इनिशियल जानकारी मिल रही है कि ये थार गाड़ी, आप सामने रोड देख रहे हैं, जो कि 11 मूर्ति से तालकटोरा स्टेडियम की तरफ आता है। इसी रोड पर ये फुटपाथ आप देख रहे हैं। देखिए, इस फुटपाथ पर थार गाड़ी जो है वो चढ़ जाती है और इसी फुटपाथ पर वो 2 लोग हैं, लड़के हैं, वो वॉक कर रहे थे, दोनों को कुचल देती है। एक की मौके पर मौत हो गई, दूसरा घायल है, अस्पताल में भर्ती कराया गया है। तस्वीरें मैं आपको दिखाऊंगा। फॉरेंसिक टीम जो कि यहां पर इस पूरे मामले को इन्वेस्टिगेट कर रही है, तमाम सबूत खंगाल रही है। फुटपाथ पर आपको सफेद रंग की थार गाड़ी के जो टायर मार्क्स है वो भी आपको साफ तौर पर नजर आएंगे। आप ये तस्वीर देखिए, ये देखिए, जो जितने भी काले कलर के पैचेस आपको नजर आ रहे हैं, ये उसी थार गाड़ी के टायर मार्क्स हैं। और फॉरेंसिक टीम ने बाकायदा यहां पर जब एविडेंस कलेक्ट किए, जो सैंपल लिए, यहां पर आप देखेंगे टायर मार्क्स और सर्कल चौक से पूरा मार्क किया गया है। तकरीबन 50 मीटर पहले आप ये तस्वीर देख रहे हैं, फुटपाथ पर सफेद रंग की जो थार गाड़ी है वो चढ़ती है और उसके बाद यहां से गाड़ी का चढ़ना शुरू होता है। तेज रफ्तार में गाड़ी थी और उसके बाद इसी फुटपाथ पर चल रहे जो 2 लड़के थे उनको टक्कर मारी गई। आप सामने तस्वीर देखेंगे, सफेद रंग की थार गाड़ी आपको अभी भी यहां पे खड़ी हुई नजर आ रही है। गाड़ी चालक को हिरासत में लिया गया है। इसी गाड़ी के अंदर से शराब की बोतल भी बरामद की गई है, जिसमें फिंगरप्रिंट और तमाम जो एविडेंस है उसको कलेक्ट किया जा रहा है। ना सिर्फ ये सफेद रंग की थार गाड़ी फुटपाथ पर चढ़ी, बल्कि आप देखेंगे जो पूरा पोल है, इस पोल पर भी गाड़ी को हिट किया गया और उसके बाद आगे जो तमाम इन्वेस्टिगेशन का प्रोसीजर है वो यहां पर आप साफ तौर पर देखेंगे। दूसरी तरफ फॉरेंसिक टीम अंदर से जितनी भी शराब की बॉटल्स मिली हैं उसके तमाम जो एविडेंस है उसको कलेक्ट किया जा रहा है और यूपी रजिस्ट्रेशन नंबर ये गाड़ी है। हालांकि जब इस गाड़ी के प्रीवियस इन्वॉल्वमेंट को ट्रैक किया गया तो पता लगा कि 1 अगस्त को भी इस गाड़ी का जो चलान है वो कटा गया। ओवर स्पीड का जो चलान है वो उस समय भी काटा गया था। लेकिन सबसे वीवीआईपी इलाके राष्ट्रपति भवन से महज 1.5 से 2 किलोमीटर दूर और तालकटोरा स्टेडियम आप बिल्कुल लेफ्ट में यहां पर देख रहे हैं, तालकटोरा स्टेडियम के ठीक सामने ये एक्सीडेंट होता है। सुबह के समय एक्सीडेंट होता है। हालांकि जो शख्स है वो नशे की हालत में था या नहीं, क्योंकि गाड़ी के अंदर से शराब की बोतल मिली है। पुलिस का साफ तौर पर कहना है कि मेडिकल कराया जाएगा और आगे जो कानूनी प्रोसीजर है वो इसमें फॉलो किया जाएगा। लेकिन कैसे गाड़ी, ये सफेद रंग की थार गाड़ी फुटपाथ पर चढ़ी और उसके बाद पोल पर टकराती है, टकराने के बाद जो 2 लोग हैं जो फुटपाथ पर वॉक कर रहे थे उनको टक्कर मारती है, एक की मौत हो जाती है और फॉरेंसिक टीम अब मौके पर पहुंची और तमाम एविडेंस को यहाँ पे कलेक्ट किया जा रहा है। पुलिस का साफ तौर पर कहना है कि इस पूरे इलाके के जो सीसीटीवी कैमरे उसको खंगाला जा रहा है ताकि ये चेक किया जाए कि क्या वाकई पीछे से भी गाड़ी बहुत तेज रफ्तार में आ रही थी। जो शख्स है उसका मेडिकल कराया जाएगा और उसके बाद आगे की जो कानूनी प्रक्रिया है वो शुरू की जाएगी। लेकिन इस गाड़ी के बिल्कुल लेफ्ट हिस्से को आप देखेंगे तो आप समझ पाएंगे कि कितनी तेज रफ्तार में ये गाड़ी रही होगी उस समय जब ये एक्सीडेंट हुआ। पोल पर टकराई, डिसबैलेंस हुई, फुटपाथ पर चलने वाले दो लोगों को टक्कर मारी और हर एविडेंस को अब यहाँ पर कलेक्ट जो है वो पुलिस द्वारा किया जा रहा है।
All right. Thank you so much, Jatin, for all those updates there. You keep tracking those developments. We'll keep coming back to you. Thank you so much. And viewers, we'll take a very short break, but news and updates are going to continue. Stay tuned to Republic TV.
जब मैं 5 साल का था जब मैंने हॉकी स्टार्ट की थी। मेरा नाम युवराज सिंह है और मैं इंडियन हॉकी प्लेयर हूँ। एज ए मैं डिफेंडर एंड ड्रैग फ्लिकर। पसीना बहाना पड़ता है तब जाके आता है गोल्ड। आज मैं जो भी हूँ, जो भी नाम है, जो भी कुछ हूँ, आज हॉकी के लिए हूँ। आज भी मैं इंडिया टीम के लिए खेल रहा हूँ, खेलता रहूँगा।
शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, सबका राजा और प्योर मसाला।
The Indian Ministry of Defence's decision to pause the acquisition of 6 additional Boeing P-8I Poseidon aircraft valued at $3.6 billion marks a significant inflection point in India's strategic calculus. Announced on August 7, 2025, the move coincides with the United States' imposition of a 25% tariff on Indian exports, a unilateral action by President Donald Trump that has sharply escalated trade tensions. While not a cancellation, the halt is a deliberate signal. India is prepared to reassess its reliance on American defense platforms if economic coercion begins to undermine bilateral trust. The P-8I, a customized variant of the Boeing 737-800 ERX, has been a cornerstone of India's maritime surveillance architecture since its induction in 2009. The initial
Hi there, welcome back to your favorite deep dive show on stories contemporary and consequential for India. This episode comes to you from Israel. I traveled from the Golan Heights to Haifa, from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, from the entrance of the Gaza Strip to where it all began, the Nova Music Festival site of October 7, 2023 attack of Hamas. What comes out of this journey is a story of a nation in perpetual conflict, but drawing from an inexhaustible supply of resolve, perhaps going back millennia. It's the story of Israel and its 8-front war. Let's get going. This is the picture of the founder of modern Israel. His name is David Ben-Gurion. He was the leader of the Israeli Defense Forces through much of the 1940s and established the State of Israel in 1948, much against the wish of its neighborhood, against the teeth of opposition. And that pretty much explains the existential angst that has defined modern history of Israel through much of its existence. Just last week, during excavations around the Temple Mount, a coin was found. It dated back to 74 AD and spoke about a Jewish rebellion against the Romans, who had thrown out the Jews around that time and captured Jerusalem. The Jews were rebelling then, revolting then, and in some ways, they continue to do it even now. I got a glimpse of this existential angst at the Hostage Square in Tel Aviv, at the Nir Oz kibbutz near the Gaza Strip, and even more poetically at Mazdal Shams in the mountains of Golan Heights. It is here in this village that on July 27 last year, a Hezbollah rocket from the other side, from Lebanon, came in, fell on a football field, killing 12 children, mostly teenagers and younger, when they were busy playing soccer. We are in Mazdar Shams village in Golan Heights of Israel, and this spot is a football field, and this was a scene of a massacre of innocent children playing soccer on 27th of July last year. These are the pictures. These villagers call them their 12 angels. A rocket came in from just behind this hill. If I could ask that hill to be shown, just to give you an idea of how close Lebanon and the Hezbollah are. Just across the hill is Lebanon. This side is Israel. And a rocket came in. These kids were playing here, and I will introduce each one of them to you. We have spoken to their mothers. There was a ceremony here that took place just a while back, a somber ceremony remembering those angels, as this village calls them now. And look at those 12 kids. I would read their name so that we have it, their memory.